from sunny California, and I listen to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on Facebook Live.
STMK Radio 100.
How often have you heard life is a journey? It's true. Every day of your life takes you somewhere you've never been before. You discover who you are and what you're made of as you face the unknown and uncertain, progress and pain, love and loss. What you might not know is that this journey comes with a guide.
God uses negatives to accomplish positives. He connects things that don't look connectable when the timing is right and everything is looking wrong.
In his new book, Pathways, Dr. Tony Evans helps you discover the very personal nature of God as he maneuvers you toward your purpose.
God wants to use you. God wants to empower you because he wants you to make a difference, even when it looks like it's not working out.
Discover how to stay confident and committed no matter where your journey leads you, and experience the joy and satisfaction God promises when you do. Pathways, from Providence to Purpose. Brand new from Dr. Tony Evans.
Who's going to herald a revolution in medical treatment? The idea was to stick the lab inside the box. It's impossible, physically.
Elizabeth was lying about the accuracy of the blood tests. She was deceiving investors. It's fake it until you make it.
That's not the way you approach science that's going to be impacting people's lives. Quite frankly, people can die.
That's what the story is.
Richard M. Nixon has lied repeatedly.
No reporter from the Washington Post should ever be in the White House again. You understand? I'm going to kick their ass.
If people looking at me say that's a new Nixon, then all that I can say is, well, maybe you didn't know the old Nixon.
The tradition. The suspense. The race. This is your chance to experience it firsthand. Rocket Mortgage is giving away 20 VIP trips to Churchill Downs to witness the Kentucky Derby in person. And one lucky winner will receive $250,000. Use it to purchase your dream home or pay off your mortgage. The Rocket Mortgage Homestretch Sweepstakes. Enter today at homestretchsweepstakes.com.
Real Life Living Productions. Real Life Living Productions. Real Life Living Productions.
And now back to John with the weather.
Yes, Andy. Tonight, a big storm. Storm this! Get the soccer offer from Pizza Hut and Pepsi. With every 2 medium pan Super Supreme, you get a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. Yes, a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. Yes, Pepsi the soccer ball. Don't miss the Pizza Hut and Pepsi soccer offer. With every 2 medium pan Super Supreme, you get a real soccer ball and 4 cans of Pepsi for free. What about the weather, Andy? Don't resist and call 19,000 now.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Shawn L, Let and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
A public street announcement. You are now listening to a kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Good evening and welcome tonight on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. I'm your host, Shawn L. Tonight we're going to go into 2 cases in 2 metropolitan cities. We're going to go into a case in Cleveland, Ohio, where 62 women have been killed, dumped in the city streets like trash. We're going to go back over the visual for the East 93rd Street murder victims in Cleveland. And we have to ask this question: is there a serial killer in the city of Cleveland? Cleveland does have a problem with a serial killer. Honestly, I do believe that. Former city councilman Zack, who ward makes up part of the corridor, also would not rule out a serial killer in these unsolved murder cases. Lack of police on the street, lack of police in our specialized units, and the lack of technology that even the federal monitor says we do not have. And putting all this together, you have a perfect storm. We look back at the 62 murders and the visual with speakers like Luara Cowan, Alford Porter, president of Black on Black Crime, family members, former Councilman Zack, and your own Shawn L get on the stage and keep it 100. Then we're going to go into looking at an icon, Nipsey Hussle, whose real name was Ermias Joseph, was murdered on Sunday, March 31st. The shooting occurred in the Hyde Park area of Los Angeles outside his clothing marathon store. He was just 33 years old. Now, this brings in a lot of questions, and we're going to go back. We're going to listen to some activists. We're going to listen to Nipsey Hussle in his own words, and we're going to listen to some of his buddies. And they have some strong opinions on this. So sit back and relax, and let's go. And remember, Nipsey Hussle, a well-renowned rapper starting off, activist who wanted to stop gang violence in the city of Los Angeles. And there's a lot that we have to talk about right there also, because in that 8-block area, the week prior to Nipsey Hussle being killed, there were 25 shootings, 10 homicides, and 5 minutes after Nipsey Hussle was killed, 2 men were killed 4 blocks away. That brings the total to 27 shootings with 13 homicides.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
I just believed in the plan on paper, and just, you know, amongst the team, it always felt like it could work. It was a good plan. And that to be empowered the way we wanted to be empowered, to get to the level that we want to get to, that it was this route. And it seemed like you had to be comfortable being counted out at times, because if you was uncomfortable with that, that will put pressure on you to make decisions that might be premature, might work against you in the long run. That's why I call my whole shit the marathon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think it was a lot of pressure to, like, take the elevator or jump on somebody else's back for a moment, but the respect is what keep you in the game. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? And the distinguishing yourself through how you get there, you know, is what people really, really at the end of the day say, that I know his character from demonstration, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that was what was most important. And whatever we could accomplish within that boundary, that's what we wanted. We didn't want nothing else outside of that until we was, you know, in a position to get that on our own and in our own way. And so every time we make a step forward or make progress, it count for that much more, because we know how we got here. We know we kept it pure.
Over here driving down Slauson, man. Driving down Slauson, 4 in the morning, man. Because I can't sleep behind what happened to Nip, man. Why niggas do the homie like that, man? At his own motherfucking stop. His own place of business, that's how niggas do niggas, man. LA on some bullshit, homie, on me.
On Sunday at about 3:20 in the afternoon, Nipsey with 2 other males were standing in front of his store, as has been reported. That Mr. Holder walked up on multiple occasions and engaged in a conversation with Nipsey and the others that were there. He left and then came back, and subsequently came back armed with a handgun, and purposely and repeatedly fired, striking and killing Nipsey Hussle, as well as striking and injuring the other 2. One requiring them to be hospitalized or transported to a nearby hospital, the other suffering a wound but was treated at scene. Mr. Holder We have identified him through, at this point, the available video evidence, statements, and information that we're getting from our community. And I cannot thank enough that the community is the one who is helping us solve this case. As in every case, it is the community's engagement that makes our lives safer, that provides justice for these victims and their families. Mr. Holder entered the passenger side of a 2016 Chevy Cruze. It's a white four-door vehicle. Its license plate is 7 Robert John David, that's RJD 742. And the vehicle was driven by an unidentified woman. That vehicle was located in the alley adjacent to that mini mall strip center where it fled from the scene. We have, as the mayor indicated, we continue to seek the public's help and assistance twofold. People that were at that scene or have information from people who were at that scene that can help identify further and provide us evidence of the persons responsible for this senseless murder. We ask that you call our South Bureau homicide detectives day or night. You also can use WeTip and Crime Stoppers and report anonymously. We're not done in gathering evidence on this horrific shooting. Secondarily, is we want the public to help us identify and apprehend Mr. Holder. Armed with a handgun, this senseless murder, this expression of violence, represents that this is a man who is of a substantial risk to public safety and willing to use violence. And we want to see that stop. And we need the public's help in identifying him and to Mr. Holder, who I am confident is watching this and is listening to these media accounts as this is spread not only around this region, but around this world. I ask him to surrender, to find a local law enforcement agency, to go to a station and surrender, and to defend himself as he feels appropriate, but to stop this mess, to stop this from continuing. Let me comment just briefly in regards to the context of this increase in violence. So January and February of this year, this city averaged approximately 13 shooting victims a week. And that number, while it may sound high, is actually for Los Angeles Police Department and the Lost City of Angels, it was at and below last year's numbers and the year before, substantially. March, we saw that number double to 26 on average. And nearly entirely that increase was in 77th area of the South Los Angeles. 77th in January and February experienced just under 5 shootings a week. That number expanded to nearly 15 on average a week in the month of March. Much of it is gang. In fact, nearly all of it is gang related. Nipsey Hussle's death and his tragic shooting, I have no information today that has that involved in this other shooting violence, and that needs to be stressed. What we're seeing here is not just a shooting of a hip hop artist, a profound individual coming back to give back to his community. What I'm concerned about as chief, and I know our community leaders are as well, is we've got to continue to go at this recent increase in shooting violence because it's not just a dispute over a personal matter. This is gang violence that we're seeing particularly in South Los Angeles, but also on the west side and in other parts of the city that we need to redouble our efforts and keep working towards intervening and finding ways of resolving disputes without people resulting to a bullet with no name on it. So with that, the group, we're here to answer questions and concerns. And I remind, as the mayor had indicated, that as we focus a lot of effort and energy in my remarks today and our remarks, that this still remains one of the safest times in Los Angeles. But we don't reach that safety by apathy or minimizing what we have in front of us. Each of these lives matter, and our commitment as a department, our elected officials who I'm proud of their work and investment, our community and faith leaders, is that we're relentless and we will not give up in seeing that our communities are safe. Thank you. At this point, our investigation, based on witness statements and the background of those that we've identified, we believe this to be a dispute between Mr. Hussle and Mr. Holder. I'm not going to go into the conversations, but it appears to be a personal matter between the two of them in regards to a dispute, and I'll leave it at that. I'm going to ask you to understand that we have identified Mr. Holder because based on yesterday, what we've learned in the first 24 hours, we believe him to be the responsible individual for this killing. And we have a responsibility as law enforcement to work and ensure that the public's made aware of that, as well as our officers and other law enforcement who may come across this individual who is armed with a handgun and willing to use such violence. We're working closely with the district attorney's office, and I do not wish to prejudice this case or undermine its success by going into too much detail relative to the facts and circumstances.
What's disrespect is the fact that the same shit that you were doing before that man got killed is the same shit that you're doing right now. That's what's disrespect. Because this is fucking reality. This is the shit that it is that y'all excuse. This is the shit that it is that your actions promote. This is the shit that it is that your inaction, your lack of action, your inability to get out and go and fucking do something. This is the shit that promotes. Bringing once rival gangs together, all for the sake of building his neighborhood, building his community, and doing things everything he could possibly do to quiet the violence that was killing so many fucking people. A man who was a day away from another one of those efforts by meeting with the chief of police and reps from Rock Nation and things like that to continue his efforts. That's why that man was killed. So many of you guys are continuing to do exactly what it is that man stood for eradicating, and that is continuing to tear each other down.
I realized my homeboy ain't coming back. He can't kiss his old lady, touch his kids. If you could do that, you're blessed. You shouldn't be worried about nobody or what you got, or you need to keep it real with the hood. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I don't live in the hood. My homeboy died keeping it real. So only thing I'm gonna keep it real when I go back to the hood is helping the kids and the older people. And all you fake athletes, that's coming out like y'all, my dog hit y'all know the ones that wasn't real. They had some real ones. I ain't gonna lie. Same thing with rappers. Everybody showing love. It's all good. We get it. But the ones that my dog asked for verses, they ain't never sent him, still probably waiting on. Yeah, they named the street after my dog. He deserved that, but he deserved that love while he was here. You know what I'm saying? And Chris Dog, how you gonna take that case, dog? That's some whole ass shit, man. We lost a real soldier, man, but the marathon gonna continue.
It's a crab in the bucket mentality where, everybody doing bad. So when one person starts to move forward and become a little bit successful, but you still within reach of these people, it's very hard because, you're dealing with the pressures of trying to be successful as well as the pressure of people intentionally waking up to try to bring harm your way. And try to stop you from doing that, because if I grew up on the same block you grew up on, and we had the same trials and tribulations, but you became successful and I became a failure, it made me feel a certain way about myself, because we had the same, we were dealt the same deck of cards. So I feel like my success affects the people closest to me the most. A person that don't know me might root for me, and be happy for me. A person that know me and come from the same environment and had the same card dealt to them, that keep going to jail, don't have no money, never made their parents proud or their mama proud, never did anything that they could look in the mirror and be proud of. It make them feel a certain way, and it's intense. And that shit manifests into jealousy, hate, violence. And it's deep because it's a stigma about artists becoming Hollywood, especially street artists going Hollywood. But it's almost like if you don't, you're gonna sacrifice yourself for the opinions of others. You know what I mean? Some people look at you as, oh, you keep it real. Instead of in your heart, doing what you know you had to do to attain the goal.
Just died mysteriously down there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you know how they play.
Oh, yeah.
You know, niggas be Ststmk Hustle. Be careful, man. This plane gonna go down.
Faced with this decision, it's a funny feeling. Knowing when you tell the truth, they gon' come and kill you.
Tell mama don't cry, cause even if they kill me, they can never take the life of a real G.
Stressed a young nigga out, but I'm so resilient. The champagne on the Civics, they was taking pictures.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G.
Real shit, you can mark my words. 85 colors, I'll make my swerves. Back him up, but only take one burst. Take a stand, had to take one first. Rest in peace, have him paint your shirt. For niggas trying to take my work.
Yeah, what up?
But you know, these hoe niggas trying to take what's yours.
Rest in peace. Fuck the world, feel the fury of the chosen man. Thug nigga, 10mm closing hand, put him in my range. Aim nigga, take 5. Watch him die, shoulda never fucked around with a time to ride. Riding low down a one-way, watch for gunplay. I hope we find true peace one day. Nobody cried when my dog died, set him straight. AK automatically retaliate.
Faced with this decision, it's a funny feeling. Knowing when you tell the truth, they gon' come and kill you.
Tell mama don't cry, cause even if they kill me, they can never take the life of a real G.
Stressed a young nigga out, but I'm so resilient. The champagne on the Civics, they was taking pictures.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G. I'm getting money
for these better days.
Hustle, be careful, man. You ain't gonna go down. Say niggas better ride with me.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Don't pray, rock.
So many worried kids throughout the years, while pouring out liquor and beers for all my homies that wasn't here. Can't help but shed tears at the cemetery, making me wonder if this loaded business necessary. Even the preacher can see the pain in my mother's eyes, while walking by can't help but sympathize when brothers die. Maybe the pain will make the situation change. No motive for murder, the homicide will never aim. The script game, bullets is blasted, time passed, brothers in mass. Retaliation is the aftermath. Retaliation is the aftermath. Retaliation is the aftermath.
Faced with this decision, it's a funny feeling. Knowing when you tell the truth, they gon' come and kill you.
Tell mama don't cry, cause even if they kill me, they can never take the life of a real G.
Stressed a young nigga out, but I'm so resilient. The champagne on the Civics, they was taking pictures.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G. I'm getting money. My nigga Nipsey, rest in peace. God bless the dead.
It don't stop till the casket drop.
It's kinda hard to be optimistic when your homies lying dead on the pavement, twisted. Y'all don't even know. I'm trying hard to make amends, but I'm losing all my motherfucking friends. Damn, they should've shot me when I was born. Now I'm trapped in the motherfucking storm. How long will it move it? All that remains is a corpse wrapped in plastic. Call up his mama, tell her my baby's in the casket. No love for him, just put his body in the grave. Even the pistol and all his plans couldn't save him. Look how they played him. They should've murdered me when I was born. Cause now I'm trapped in the violence of the storm. How long will they move
Faced with
it?
this decision, it's a funny feeling. Knowing when you tell the truth, they gon' come and kill you.
Tell mama don't cry, cause even if they kill me, they can never take the life of a real G.
Stressed a young nigga out, but I'm so resilient. The champagne on the Civics, they was taking pictures.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G.
When things get bad, especially come the 1st and the 15th, stay strong and stay ballin'. Hold on, I'll catch y'all at the next light.
Faced with this decision, it's a funny feeling. Knowing when you tell the truth, they gon' come and kill you.
Tell mama don't cry, cause even if they kill me, they can never take the life of a real G.
Stressed a young nigga out, but I'm so resilient. The champagne on the Civics, they was taking pictures.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G.
STMK Radio 100.
Could Cleveland have a serial killer problem? Yes, pointing to as many as 3 killers in 2 distinct locations.
In Cleveland, dating back to 2004, the murders of 61 women, all of them unsolved.
In recent years, Cleveland has gained international attention over the gruesome deaths of women. 61 unsolved murders involving women. Victims who were stabbed, strangled, struck, or shot at close range. And as many as 27 of those cases could be connected.
On the eve of Halloween, Cleveland police have discovered a true house of horrors.
Infamous over people like Anthony Soule, who killed 11, burying them near his home on Imperial Avenue. Michael Madison, a sex offender who disposed of victims in trash bags. And Christopher Whitaker, who tortured Aliana DeFries, a 14-year-old on her way to school. There are the killers we don't know because they haven't been caught. It was 5 years ago when Christine Malone, a 45-year-old mother of 8, was found in this field along Bessemer Avenue, strangled to death. Jasmine Trotter was strangled to death and found beneath a porch on 93rd just days before. And though police did not announce a connection, families did.
Pretty confident that Cleveland has a serial killer issue.
15 of the victims ranged from 40 to 70, which is rare.
The walking, talking, breathing testament that there are no sanctions to homicide.
Tell you the killings have not stopped, that a case in Euclid just last year suggests they may have even spread, where we found killers hiding in the numbers.
When you have so many more intimate deaths, and they're all unsolved, that to us suggests a series.
Identified 2 clusters of murders on the city's east side. The first along Euclid Avenue, the second on East 93rd. While a number of the victims were over 40, as old as 70, and others had a record of prostitution.
Cleveland has a serial killer issue.
Along many of these streets, homes are abandoned, and while men like Anthony Soule were caught and convicted, others have gotten away with murder using these as their hunting grounds.
It really is common sense. If you leave killers walking the streets, oddly, the killing goes on. If you don't solve your murders, you should expect more of them.
We will never forget. We will never forget. Jamila Hassan. We will never forget. We will never forget. Christine Malone. And also, we can never forget Shakira Johnson. That brought many of us out here in the first place. We have to put it out here and basically say, which has been said in City Hall, it is what it is. East 93rd Street today, an atrocity happened within the past 24 hours. Nancy Ray Coleman reached out to the councilperson, Blaine Griffin, who ignored her phone calls for the past 24 hours. What I want to put out there is for everyone to remember that no matter what happens, you have to hold your elected and your selected leaders responsible and accountable. You have to remember that, because once it's time for election day, you will see everybody out here knocking on your door, demanding a vote, asking for a vote. And you should ask them, what have they done for you lately? You have to ask them, where have they been? I also want to send this one out and say that beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you have a prosecutor like Michael Malley, if you have a judge like even Nancy First, if you have others, you should delve deep and dive deep to check and see and hold your police force accountable to make sure that this place and the leads come out as if they would on the west side. Downtown Public Square, let it be justice for everybody.
I just thank everyone for coming out. Just hoping and praying that we will come together as a community to watch over our children, to watch over the women in this community, to stand up for the black men that are really trying to be out here for the community and help to build it up and to keep our families safe. And just praying for those families that have lost these precious matriarchs and loved ones. It is a hard overall, but I'm just hoping that we'll stand together and we'll continue to fight to build up our community in terms of what it should be.
That's between the women coming up missing and no one caring. They wait until after they're missing to look for them. The whole procedure, not having enough police officers on staff to be able to handle these situations. Times have changed. Things have to change. We're looking for justice for Christine. We remember her every year to remember her. We're going to Imperial to remember them. We're going to East Region to remember them. We shouldn't have to be remembering them. We should have a system in check now from the Imperial mistakes. Should be something in place for people to know, hey,
remain unsolved. Although all the other decrees were solved, we still have other women who are unsolved murders. We feel unsafe out here in the streets. Women are unsafe, men should be too. Children coming back and forth to school, abandoned homes still up. Just yesterday they found a woman in the backyard of an abandoned home, been there for a while, found by city workers. 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's still happening. And we as a community have to do something about it. We're tired. We're tired. And enough is enough.
Enough is enough. First of all, let me just say to the well, first of all, let me.
I need your connectivity.
That's what I got it. All right, let's say first of all, let's pray first.
Yes, sir.
We started without prayer. Let's pray. Our Father and our God, we just thank you for waking us up this morning and allowing us just to see another day. We thank you, Father, for watching over us and protecting us and guiding us throughout this day. We thank you, Father, for what you continue to do in our lives, Father. First of all, let's ask you to comfort those families, all of the families, Father, even the Breeze family, Father, even though they caught that victim, Father, the family, we know the mom and the dad are going through a lot right now, just knowing that they lost their daughter. But Father, there's some out there who don't even know who killed their loved ones, Father. And Father, we ask that you comfort them, Father. We know that you talk about your Holy Spirit. We ask that you send the Holy Spirit into their lives to comfort them as they go through the pain and the grief of losing their loved ones, Father. We ask that you stop this madness in our streets, Father. We ask that you bring forth leaders that will stop being silent with all the violence that's going on in our communities, Father. Last 7 years, over 100 people have lost their lives right here in the city of Cleveland, Father, and we just sit like that's just normal, Father. We know you sit up high, but you look down low, Father. And we ask you to look upon our communities. We ask you to look upon our leaders. We ask you to look upon our neighborhoods, Father, and just bring that comfort that we know that you can, Father. And we ask this in your Son, Jesus Christ's holy, precious name. Amen. Amen. Let me just say that, I was a councilman here for 16 years, and Miss Luara and I, whether they call us crazy, stupid, or whatever, I still believe that there may be a serial killer along this stretch here, people. I just don't know why they would pick this street 93rd to just come down and just kill these people, kill these women, and then just dump their bodies behind vacant houses and vacant yards. And then to just know that the silence of these community leaders, these so-called leaders in our community, that it just keeps going on. So far this year, we've already lost 23 people in this city already. We're well on our way to 100 homicides again for the 8th consecutive year, and we sit around because we're building new public squares, and we're building new buildings downtown, and we're building new neighborhoods on the west side, while here we on the east side right here going through hell. So it's got to stop. The silence has got to stop. We got to mobilize like we're doing right now, but we can't just come out here on days like today. We got to come out here every single day if we have to let these leaders know that we want it to stop. Silence is not a cure for what's going on in our community, people. We gotta mobilize, and we gotta get angry. We gotta get mad. And we got to unify. Yes, sir. So I want to thank all the people who came out here today, Malone family. I just want to say we stand with you. We're going to continue to stand with you. Jamil, their family, we're going to stay with that family. We're going to stay with all these families that have lost somebody. We are never going to let them forget that there have been 5 women that lost their lives along this stretch. And no one has been brought to justice. Not one person has been brought to justice. And until every one of those individuals brings closure to their lives because someone is behind bars, behind the deadly killing that happened to them, we're
grandmother. All he would know is stories. It's not fair. All these other families are getting their pain eased a little bit by finding their killers. What about us? It's been 6 long, painful, dreadful years. And I really, on behalf of my family, I appreciate and thank everybody that takes the time to come out and march with us and help us learn who killed our mother. And the other victims, Zack, the Trotter, I can't remember all the other victims, all the other victims' families, the Katanas, Zack's masters, the Dust. They always told us as kids to take a village to raise a family. Where's this village at? I'm not saying this village. All I'm seeing is kids killing other kids, men killing other men, women killing women. Where's the village? I'm not seeing it. I grew up in this neighborhood over 30-some years. I went to every school in this neighborhood. We never had these problems. I'm not understanding. We need more people out here to speak. We need more men out here to help these men, these boys turn into men. We need women out here to teach these young girls how to be women. If we all come together, it should be perfect. It should not happen, but this is the society that we live in now. And I thank you again for everybody that came out. Thank you.
Right now, my name is Shawn L. I'm the CEO of STMK Radio 100. I'm a 32-year veteran of the Police Department. And I'm here because I put my life on the line and I walk the streets to serve my community. And when I retired, I stayed here in this community. I didn't leave. And I want everybody to look around because, see, I'm not going to be as kind as Zack Reed was, okay? Because Zack Reed's a politician and he want to be kind. I'm not a politician. I'm not an activist, so I'm not going to be kind and nasty as our McCoy may be. But I want to know why my mayor is not standing on the corner with me with his family. He ain't got nothing else to do. Red Jackson should be standing right here with my black police chief. This ain't a black and white issue, people. I want everybody to understand this. This city is being ran by black people. We've been held down by our own. There's nobody here robbing us, stealing our cars, carjacking us. Our schools are inferior. Here no politicians have been here for 50 years. He was part of the problem. He wanted to correct it. We keep allowing this to happen. We're Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, why are they not standing here on the corner with us? Come on, brother. Come on, please. Okay? We're the NAACP. If this artists matter, we're the black groups that's supposed to be here for the black people. All I see is the poor people standing here in the community fighting for survival. We are the same victims that the police are wearing guns and scared to come into the community, but we're in the community without guns being victimized, and nobody's telling anything about it. Our police chief promised us that if we pass that tax increase, that he will put 200 police officers on the street immediately. They call him a fool for saying. Where are those 200 police officers at? Okay. Good question. Right. Where? Okay, I'm going to ask this. Where are the 200 police officers at? The men and women of the city of Cleveland is out there in uniform and fighting for their lives and working hard. It's not their fault. Where's our safety director? We haven't seen our safety director since the shooting in East Cleveland. We pay him over $100,000 a year. Councilman Williams is not the spokesperson for the Department of Public Safety. I don't want to see Councilman Williams' face no more. Councilman Williams has a boss. Why are we not asking this boss to come out here and stand with us? Why are we letting somebody else talk when the boss won't come out here and talk? Where's Bobby Friday? He's the one that's running the public streets. Everybody's sitting here. Frank Jackson. We want to recall Frank Jackson. No, we want the resignation. We want resignations of the safety director for failing to protect the safety of the citizens of the community. Cleveland is a black community. It's time for us to hold our black officials accountable. No more marching. No more standing outside City Hall. No more going in there. We'll burn our city down for white police officers to kill somebody. Art McCoy's been out here for 45 years fighting for black rights, and a black man beat him down. We got to start holding our own people accountable. But before we hold our own accountable, we need to go clean City Hall out.
Yes, sir.
We need to come down here. We need the NAACP. We need all the churches. There's a church on every corner down here. We want every preacher to come down here. Where the Zulus at? We need the Zulus standing out here. We need the Jews and all the fraternities standing out here on the corner with us. We need every black man in the city of Cleveland. I don't care if you're working. I don't care if you ain't got a car. That's all of us meet down at the Board of Election. Let's have our next protest at the Board of Election. March our people in there and make them vote. And I guarantee you, when they sign out those voter registrations, people will start coming down here to listen to our cry. You want to know why it's been 6 years why women have been million and dumped into this city and nobody cares? You want to know why? Look around the black neighborhood. Look at the traffic moving right here on 93rd. Why is traffic moving on 93rd tonight? I remember just 3 months ago up in Shaker Heights when a teacher got killed, you couldn't move. Amen. What makes a suburb more important in my community? Look at East Cleveland. East Cleveland is ran by all black people, all black. The plantation mentality is there. We're not training our kids. We're not teaching them. We're not giving them anything to live for. We're not educating them. And then we want to blame somebody else. First, we got to blame ourselves. So every black man standing here, and every black man hear my voice, and everybody that's listening to me on Fox 8 and Mayor Jackson, when you look in the mirror tonight, ask yourself, what did I do to make my community better? Amen. There's only one man I know, and he's standing behind me with a lady that went into one of the most dangerous areas in the city of Cleveland. 140th and St. Clair. Multiple killings, shootings. The gas station is sitting there with drugs, and nobody cared. 3 killers in one night. The police didn't even come down here. If the police can't protect us, what the hell? Get them out the way. Let us protect ourselves. That's right. In 1960, 1970, the Black Panthers came out here and took our streets block by block. When are we going to stop asking the overburdened government system to do something for us that they can't do for themselves? The police can ride by here and look at it. The commander can get paid $165,000 a year, and not one city official standing here. So they're telling you what they think about it. Zack called this a killing field 6 years ago. Where's the task force at? Ain't none. Okay? Ask yourself, where's the task force at? Right here. Okay? Last night we found another sister sitting up behind a vacant house. I want everybody to understand this. It's hurt me to death that our kids and our sisters cannot come out with safety. The black men, after all we've been through our whole life, cannot come out and protect our own. Come on. We cannot even walk down the street to the corner store without being a victim of crime. It's time for everybody to stand up. It's time for the politicians to be held accountable. Yes, sir. It's time for us to call out the people in the places we need to place. It's time for the safety director to come out to the community and address you. Not the chief of police. He has a supervisor. That's like me going down to City Hall talking to the mayor. And it don't work that way. And if the safety director cannot come out here for our dead sisters, okay? Yes, if he cannot, and if our black mayor cannot come out here for our dead sisters. Yes, sir. And I'm doing close right here, and I want everybody to understand this, and I want you to wait, I want you to put this on here. We got a black mayor, a black police chief, a black police department ran by all black top officials, with black police
police officers walking the street, and we had to have a black president with a black attorney general come into our city and tell us and our all-black council that our police department is violating the rights of their black citizens. So you tell me right now, it ain't the white man holding us back. It's our black officials who need to go. There you go. There you go.
Right means having what you need for any job on hand, so you're spending more time on the job site than away from it. Lowe's does it right by stocking job lot quantities of lumber, fencing, and decking, and at the right prices. Get volume savings on your next job at the Pro Desk, and save time by ordering at lowesforpros.com. Have your order delivered or pick up in store. Our dedicated pro loaders will load you up and get you back to the job site where you belong. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. See Pro Desk for details, U.S. only.
AP Radio News. I'm Ed Donahue. Sanctuary cities are now being considered an option in the Trump administration's immigration policy. The AP's Sagar Magani has the story from the White House.
Just this morning, White House and Homeland Security officials had said there was discussion of sending migrants to so-called sanctuary cities, which don't cooperate with immigration authorities. They say the idea was quickly dismissed, but hours later, the president tweeted he's strongly considering it, singling out California.
They want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply.
Critics say the president's trying to use migrants as pawns to go after political opponents. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi dismisses the idea as disrespectful and beneath the presidency. Sagar Magani at the White House.
A ban is supposed to go into effect later today to block the Trump administration from sending asylum seekers back to Mexico. The Trump administration is asking an appeals court judge to block that blocking. This is the Ninth Circuit, and President Trump has not been happy with its rulings in the past. Yujing Zhang, a woman from China arrested at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida, has been charged with unlawful entry of restricted buildings and making false statements. Prosecutors say she was carrying computer malware and an electronic device that detects hidden cameras when she was arrested. Police near Minneapolis say a 5-year-old boy fell 3 stories at the Mall of America. Jeff Potts is the police chief in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Additional information from witnesses indicated that the child might have been either pushed or thrown from level 3.
Potts says the boy suffered significant injuries and a man is in custody. Strong winds and snow are lingering in parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. That area is recovering from a storm yesterday, a bomb cyclone. Southwest Airlines says it's removing grounded 737 MAX jets from its schedule, at least until August. This is AP Radio News. A homeless military veteran in New Jersey was in court for his role in a GoFundMe scam. Johnny Bobbitt pleaded guilty in state court.
The charge being conspiracy to commit theft by deception, a second-degree crime.
The sentence, 5 months probation. A photo quickly spread 2 years ago of Bobbitt giving Caitlin McClure $20 when she ran out of gas on a highway in Philadelphia. A GoFundMe page was set up to help Bobbitt. It brought in $400,000. McClure and her then-boyfriend, Mark D'Amico, said they made it all up. A trailer has been released of the newest Star Wars movie.
We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now.
It's called Rise of Skywalker.
But this is your fight.
The scenes feature Daisy Ridley. It's the conclusion of the Skywalker saga. Rise of Skywalker will premiere on Christmas Day. Ed Donahue, AP Radio News.
and is on the back of my arms. Nothing I've ever tried worked.
Gold Bond Rough and Bumpy Skin Therapy exfoliates, smooths, softens, reduces bumps 74%.
I have nice, smooth skin because of Gold Bond.
Ultimate Lotion, Ultimate Skin.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
STMK Radio 100.
Trying to have some cuties sitting right beside me. Hit up my homie swing. After party shawty. They don't know I put it down. Better ask somebody about me. Ask somebody. talking, I'ma get that. Don't ask if I hit that. I'm just trying to get racks. My team, we gon' split that. Bring it to me in a gift wrap. Girl, come sit in this lap. I break you off, Kit Kat. Kit Kat. Tell me what it is. Tell me when to come. I know you see the kid, girl, don't get sprung. You don't gotta ask when we hear them drums. I told my fam to just hang on. You don't understand where I came from. Came from, riding through my city. I'm bumping that bro. Got two freaks with me. Wanna jump on that pole. I don't do them grills, but I do a bocce. Been in this game for so damn long, I feel like in the Atari. Oh, pull up in that mother big body. I'm trying to have some cuties sitting right beside me. Hit up my homie Swin. After party shot it. They don't know I put it down. Better ask somebody about me. Ask somebody. Better ask somebody about me. Ask somebody about me. Better ask somebody about me.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone.
It is so painful to know that we don't have enough people taking a position that says, listen, we must have stronger gun laws. It's unacceptable. It's almost like the world is becoming blind. I pray that we will grow. I pray that the leaders who have a responsibility to perpetuate life will do it by making sure that the laws will make it so very hard for people to have guns and to take their frustrations out to kill life. I'm very happy that in his short life, he was able to motivate people. And I hope that it motivates you enough to say, listen, enough of people being killed by guns and violence.
Hey, welcome back right there. Stop the Madness, keep it 100. And Pre-Fall Thursday, you know, there's so much going on today, but we're going to stay on our thing. We want everybody to know that we know that Trump's, the Mueller report come out, but we're going to hit on that next week. But Jay, what you think about what Stevie Wonder just said?
Violence is really out of hand right now. It was a written report that violence against women has went up almost 21% in 2016. Now in Cleveland, it's really hyping. We have like 61 murdered women unsolved since 2004. That's very high when we already had a number of murderers caught that killed, that were serial killers. And there's still a lot going on. A lot of women being killed with the same pattern. And there's not been a real thorough investigation. Because they're all in the same amount of they're all in the same areas.
Right.
2 real hot spots. And a lot of these murders could be related, but people that never get investigated.
Well, I want to say this because when we did that visual, I understand that the police department is overworked and our community is being put on the back burner. But see, I look at this right here. The community has to take a stance on what's going on because when we did that visual and I looked out into the crowd, okay, I seen traffic moving. Everybody was walking around like it was business as usual. And a young lady had just been found dead in the backyard up the street before we stood on that corner on 93rd and Bessemer. Okay. So that brought the total of 62 women killed since 2004. That's unacceptable. And it's unacceptable when the black organizations such as the NAACP, Black Lives Matter, the mayor, the Qs, the motorcycle clubs, all these people that say that they're for blacks, to leave these poor people standing on a corner by themselves, and we thinking it's business as usual. Tone, you was there. What you think about that?
I mean, for most people, it probably was business as usual. Like, I don't even know, like, how many people were even aware of the visual. So you got to take that in consideration. I think, we do need people expressing their concerns and their frustrations. We do need people speaking out and voicing their opinions on the matter, making themselves heard, bringing awareness and attention to the matter. I mean, it's sad and it's a shame that these killings take place and situations like this exist in life. But, as far as a serial killer goes, I mean, I don't know that there's anything that can be done about that. If somebody's sick and depraved enough to be a serial killer, you just got to catch them. You just got to hope you can catch them and get them off the streets as soon as possible. What can be done, though, I do hold leaders and people in power responsible because, these blighted neighborhoods, even if there's going to be a serial killer existing, we got to do all that we can to make sure they don't have a playground to do this stuff in. They shouldn't have all these abandoned buildings and abandoned homes where they can get away, where they can have the cover to do these things at. So, the people in power, they really need to act like they care, and they need to, minimize they need to stop enabling these people, these sick people that are doing what they're doing.
But when you look at this, let's say this right here. When the community doesn't come out, okay, that's sending a signal to the west side, the south side, the suburbs, and the political people, the mayor and the structure, that they don't care. And when they send that signal they don't care, that's what happens. But every year since 5 years ago, every year they hold that visual. The mayor, the councilman, and the commander of that district should make it his priority to be there, okay? You can't excuse city officials because that you have to come out there with the people. If a police officer got killed, every year they stand in the front of the 4th District when Derek Owens, who's a good friend of mine, got killed, raised the flag, put flags in the reef and all that stuff. This is like clockwork. They know that the people are coming, okay? The NAACP, I'm talking about the Cleveland chapter, okay? And a lot of people get this mixed up. The Cleveland chapter in the churches, okay, has to come out and stand with the people of the community, okay? You have to look at this. We're going to talk about Nipsey Hussle in a minute, and I want to look at the work that Nipsey Hussle did. He called everybody out, okay? He called out the leaders. He called out the gang members. He called out the people in there. He called out what we talked about last time when we said this was a plan, gentrification, and a plan to keep the poor people down and to keep the people in the plantation mentality. But Mr. Black, when you look at this and you see the communities not getting involved, where do you think we're going to go from here?
Man, I honestly don't know, Sean, man. But we need to do something, and it don't make sense that right there where we was on 93rd and Bessemer, the police station is right down the street, So it's like, how can they not come out?
Right. And I looked at that. How, like you said, they right down the street. How can they not come out? I mean, how can not the mayor come out? The black police chief. I look at the they don't like some of the leaders. Okay, and I went there to a violence panel, and I want to talk about this for a minute, Jay, because I want to bring you in. When I did this violence panel, okay, everybody don't want to get called out and don't want to go on the list, okay? But when you have a church, Jay, the churches last year, and Nipsey said this, made $342 million, okay? That money's coming out of the communities that are still looking like war zones and ghettos. We have to understand that our dollar is valued so much that they're taking it downtown for the queue, they're taking it for the churches, they're taking it for whatever they want to take it for, but they're not reinvesting in our community. And that's the start to get our communities built up. I think we need to start taking our dollars and put it in a community like Black Wall Street and building our communities up ourselves. But go ahead, Jay. Let me know where you go at it.
Wow, everybody just went all over the place. But one thing I want to say, I'm going to hold myself accountable because I was not out there. So I can't call out anybody else for not being out there, standing for our black women. That's real. So I can't be a hypocrite and sit here and say, well, yeah, they didn't do this. That should have been my job too. Support your sisters. That's messed up. If it was my mother, my daughter, or somebody in my family, I would be upset and I would be out there. And also, we have to make them come out there. Because if we're all out there deep, they have to come out there.
There you go.
They have to. And then you might have people coming, it might be for the wrong reasons. Some of the churches, or other people, you know what I'm saying? The black groups, they gonna come out there. Because it's gonna bring them publicity.
And I say this, Jay, and I want everybody to understand this. There is power in numbers, okay? So I don't care if you don't like, I was sitting on the violence panel. If you don't like Art McCoy, or if you don't like some of the things that the Euclid chapter is doing, like going to protest in front of black churches, or if you don't like some of the things that's happening, there's power in numbers, okay? The city jail, everybody's sitting here talking about the city jail, okay? When the black judges and the black lawyers and the black on black people came out, and the black on black crime and other people came out and asked you to pass issue 1, everybody had a reason why issue 1 wasn't good to pass, okay? But we steadily sent people, low violent offenders, into our county jail where they were dying, okay? Issue 1 would have made them send them to a hospital or treatment and made them set money aside for that, okay? And now we're crying because people are dying in the jail, asking the jail to do something that they can't do when they took over all the prisoners here because they don't have the money or the staff. So they have to put people in lockdown for 20 hours or more. When the community should have stepped up and made them do something. That's what we're losing in it. And that's what I want everybody to focus on. Because right now, if you don't focus on community getting involved, we have the same problem that they have. You go to L.A., okay, and I'm going to switch over here for a minute. Tony, you have anything you want to say about the women being killed before I throw this switch on you?
No, I mean, that's pretty much all I had to say. God bless their families, and, let's hope we can put an end to most of this senselessness, and we get all the help we need from, our leaders and our so-called people in power, to make this our community and all communities for that matter as good as they could possibly be.
Well, the first step is I'm gonna take this out of Nipsey Hussle's playbook, because you know what, I talk about this all the time, and me and you, Tone, always get into it about this, and thing we talked about last show when I told you that it was a plan written for the gentrification of our neighborhoods, and that plan was being taken out, and we got into a heated conversation. And remember, Tone brought the fire down on the mic, and it blew the mic out because he was asking why, you can't do nothing, you can't do this. And I was telling him, you can do something, but, we got into that thing. And a lot of the activists, and I'm going to say this, don't want to call out our brothers and sisters for wrongdoing. Okay, a lot of politicians don't want to call out our brothers and sisters for wrongdoing. Okay,
Right.
so that's the first problem, because I'm gonna take this out of Nipsey Hussle's playbook, because Nipsey Hussle was a Rolling 60 Crip member. Okay, so he was part of the problem. Okay, and as they say in the old days,
Either you're part of the solution or goddamn it, you are the fucking problem. Either you're part of the solution or goddamn it, you are the fucking problem.
and when you look at this, Nipsey Hussle not only called out his gang members, and not only went to city officials to talk about how to eradicate gang violence and how to take the people out of the neighborhoods that was causing mayhem. And he talked about that with LAPD, and he was supposed to meet with LAPD on bringing more police officers into the Crenshaw neighborhood to combat gang violence. Okay, so he himself, who was a gang member, seeing that they had to deal with gang members and gang violence to eradicate the neighborhood. But also, what he did, Tone, he did something that me and you didn't get a chance to talk about last week. Remember, I said there was a plan, and you said if the basic city services is being denied and everything, there's nothing they can do. And Nipsey Hussle just did something that I have to tell everybody else about. When he said that the churches made $342 million and our neighborhoods and our communities are still slums, he was talking about the black dollar. Okay? And the way he started to eradicate and to get gang violence out and stop black men and black women from tearing each other down and stop the crab effect. Because if you listen to what he was saying, he said it was like a crab in a barrel. Okay? So he started giving jobs. He went in and started buying up property. He started giving jobs to felons. Okay? So when they come out, the felons could come back into society and work. Okay? Now, the person that was with him was shot, was a felon. Okay? And there's a lot of rumors going on there, and we went over that. But I want to talk about the good things Nipsey did first before we get into any of the conspiracy theories and why he was killed and everything. Is that he talked about rebuilding our community. And he did something that I went back and looked at, Tone, and everybody on the panel should remember, just say no to drugs. When Barbara Bush started her campaign, she went back to the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in the elementary school. You know why she went back there? Because that's where the start was. Those are the people who are not corrupted yet in their thinking. You could talk to them, and you could steer them away, and you could teach them things. That's what Nipsey did. He went back into the elementary schools in the Crenshaw area. He didn't try to change the high schoolers. He didn't try to change the junior high school kids. He didn't try to change anybody that already had a taste of the street, okay? Because he knew he couldn't change them. He knew that they already knew that the value of money, the cars, the Nikes, the bling, that would take everything. He couldn't do anything about that. But the kids that were fighting to just go to school and not be a gang member and not become a victim of violence, he could go talk to them and start changing things. And he started putting money in their playgrounds, okay? And Mr. Black, when you see what he did, tell me what you think about Nipsey.
Man, I think he was a very sharp dude, man. I couldn't catch up that much on his music, you know, like before he passed away. You know, rest in peace to him. But I definitely think the violence needs to stop, and I like that he was always trying to speak up and speak out, you know, for the most part.
Jay, give me your thoughts of
It's
the
funny
brother.
because I used to be in the car years ago. Some of my young
Just speak a little bit louder.
I used to be in the car rolling with some of my young cats, and they used to be playing some horrible music. This horrible music. They used to always tell me, "You would like Nipsey Hussle." Like, okay, I do like West Coast rap, but I don't really listen to rap that much. And then after he passed, I have a friend. She grew up in L.A. and she was just explaining to me why she was really honestly hurt. She was really honestly hurt. And she started explaining to me what he did for the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? With Crenshaw Slauson, you know, where he grew up and how he used to be a gang member. how he started helping the hood and just teaching people, you know what I'm saying, how to make money legally, and how he started off making money. He's like, this story was an inspiration.
Yeah, it was. It was a good inspiration. And Tone, you know, that's something that every young person that I didn't understand that every young person gravitated to Nipsey, okay, and he was more of a icon leader to them than most of the people realize. Al Sharpton and all the rest of them.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what Al Sharpton and them knew, but he was definitely an icon. He was definitely one of those brothers that's gone way too soon for him to be, you know, as influential and as wealthy as he is. The things he was doing, um, I don't want to say that's what you're supposed to do because you know every man has the right to do what they want to do. But I said it on this show years ago that you know these rich rappers and these rich athletes and these rich entertainers that come from the hood and their neighborhood that they grew up from still look like shit. They should be ashamed of themselves. I said that on this show years ago. So what Nipsey was doing, that's what what I believe all of these brothers should be doing. You know, in an effort to better our communities and better our our neighborhoods and our and make it better for our people. So our people have a better chance at life. Instead of waiting, we're waiting for politicians and leaders and stuff like that. Instead of waiting for them to do it, people in positions like Nipsey was. If more of them did that, if more of them took that lead and did what he was doing, um, our communities would be so much better places.
And I agree with that because I look at being invited and I said some things before I did the panel, and a lot of people look and I understand why everybody has a problem right now because everybody looks at me. I don't talk like a retired police officer, pro police, make America great, and all this other stuff, okay? Because I believe that we can have protection and have enforcement and have our community respected all at one time, okay? This is not this or that or this or this. We can have everything. The police can come into our communities and police our communities like they're supposed to. We're not asking you to beat nobody up. We're not asking you to disrespect nobody. We ask you to treat us the same way that you want your mother or daughter or your wife treated in your community when you come into this community, okay? That's all we ask them, okay? And that's what the activists have to get into their mind. We can't be anti-police because we need the police, okay? The young people gravitated to Nipsey because I'm going to say this. Nobody knew the violence that's going on in Crenshaw, Slauson area, okay? In 7 days, and I want to say this because it goes back to something that Jay said earlier about the violence and guns and everything in Cleveland and the killing of black women in Cleveland, Chicago, 62 in Cleveland, 50 in Chicago, 36 in Atlanta. In the 7-day period in the Los Angeles Crenshaw, that little 4-block area where Nipsey Hussle's Marathon store was at, there was, prior to Nipsey Hussle getting killed, there was 24 shootings, 10 homicides, okay, in 7 days in that 4-block area. Now, everybody talking about for a city like Los Angeles, that is not normal. We cannot take that as being normal, okay? When Nipsey Hussle got killed, 5 minutes later, 2 blocks west of where he was at, 2 young men got killed, okay? Now, there was a young man on social media, and they flashed this in the chat room and stuff, right after Nipsey Hussle shooting, it was on there talking about he shot Nipsey Hussle. I don't know if y'all seen that video or whatever, but there's a video going around. He shot Nipsey Hussle and telling everybody how he did it. Well, guess what? Somebody walked up on him in a McDonald's and killed him, okay? Now, you have this situation, and we just got to keep it 100. I do not believe, as being an investigator, the story that is being told by the LAPD. And I don't believe it for 2 reasons. I know everybody in the world seen the video, and everybody on the panel should have seen the video of Nipsey Hussle being killed, okay? Nipsey Hussle, if you look at his tattoos, he has a teardrop. Everybody knows, you know what a teardrop is, right, Jake?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, a teardrop means you committed a 187. And in the California Penal Code 187 is homicide, murder. You took somebody's life. I looked at Nipsey Hussle's record. I had never seen him prosecuted or charged with homicide. Okay. So he knew the violence life. Okay. So here it is. Nipsey Hussle is a big star and a rolling members of the Rolling 60 Crip Club, a high-ranking member. Okay. He got out of it, okay, because he was going a different way. But still, you don't get out of a game. There's only one way to get out of a game in California, okay? Blood in, blood out. Everybody understands that. Or at least they should understand that, okay? Here goes Shitty Cuz, Eric Holder. And he got a hell of a name. I don't know who named him that. He's a Rolling 60 member Crip, okay? So why would he have to walk up to Nipsey Hussle and introduce himself? Okay, now this is the story they want you to put out. Nipsey Hussle came because he was trying to give his brother who just got out of jail some clothing. Shitty Cuz came up to him talking about he was an aspired rapper, introduced himself. Nipsey Hussle called him a snitch. They had some words or whatever, and he walked away and came back 4 times. 4 times. Okay, that just don't sit right with me, with somebody that's been in the street, okay? If I'm at a bar and I have a problem with a person, there's no way I'm going to let them go in and out of the bar to keep walking up on me and not think, hey, what this guy up to, okay? Or are we getting ready to throw down? Or did he go get his ride, okay? That's just not street sense. And I've been in the street my whole life, okay? So when I look at the video and see Nipsey Hussle standing there talking to 4 people, and Eric Holder walks up on him. Nobody gave him a gun. Nobody pointed Nipsey out. I watched the video very well. He walked along the wall, and the guy that was throwing something away in the garbage can, he walked up on the back of him. And then when he went to go around him, there's a guy that's walking down, okay? He walked in front of him and almost bumped. I guess he did bump the guy, okay? But by being gang neighborhood, when he bumped the guy and knocked him off to the side, the guy didn't just kept moving. He didn't turn around. You know, everybody else would turn around and ask you, what's your problem? But by that being the Rolling 60 Crip neighborhood, he knowing that's Rolling 60 Crip member, he didn't want no hassle, so he went on and walked on, okay? But when Eric Holder walked up on Nipsey, Nipsey did not look like he was worried, okay? That's how he got snuffed, okay? When he got shot, the guy next to him got shot. There were 6 people in the parking lot. They all vamped. Eric Holder ran away from Nipsey Hussle 3 times and came back 3 times, shot him each time, okay? The first time he ran away, he went no further than the front of the car that was parked there, the car that Nipsey was across from Nipsey, okay? It was like he was waiting for somebody to come out and engage him. It didn't happen, okay? He went back and shot him 3 or 4 more times, okay? He ran back to the front of the car, and he didn't run off. There's a problem there, okay? Why didn't he just run off the first time, okay? Then he goes back for a 3rd time and shoot Nipsey Hussle in the head and 3 more times and then kick him in the face, okay? And he kicked him in the face because that's gang disrespect to a person, letting them know you just got dropped, okay? Then he runs off, okay? All that doesn't play right, okay? The question is, who knew Nipsey Hussle was going to be in that parking lot? Okay, the first scenario they put out, and I'm going to bring this back around for everybody, is that Nipsey came down without a security because he wanted to give his friend who just got out of jail some clothes so he can go to his peeps in decent clothes. Okay, well, the guy that got shot that's in jail right now because he's violated, you should know very well, Tone, the Colorado Code, that you can't be around known fellas or gang members or they violate you. He's facing 20 years now, okay? Now, I understand, I'm going to say this too for a minute to the people in California. You can't have it both ways, okay? Yes, Nipsey Hussle was a gang member. Yes, Nipsey Hussle was carrying his rifle around and he was hiring felons and all that, okay? And he was giving them jobs and all that. But what Bro should have did, Bro should have went to the halfway house with that application from Nipsey Hussle and had the state sign off on Nipsey Hussle, okay? Because he knew he was facing a serious problem, being a felon, going down into gang neighborhood and being around a felon, okay? And
I ain't worried about that because he's not even thinking about what happening. He
But-
thinking he gonna get some
but-
clothes,
but no,
see his brother. He don't care about the violation because that's the life.
Let me say this. This is the story they put out, okay? But he's sitting in jail, okay? He says that he didn't go down there with Nipsey Hussle. He said he ordered a shirt. He went down. He didn't see Nipsey Hussle. He went into the marathon, okay?
Say what he gotta say.
Wait a minute. He said he went into the marathon.
Right.
The shirt wasn't ordered, and he asked the guy when the shirt was coming, and the guy told him that he can. Nipsey was out in the parking lot, and he could go out in the parking lot and ask Nipsey. That's how him and Nipsey got together. Okay. Now, the story came out, and this is what we need to know who started the story, was that Nipsey came down just for him to give him clothes because he was supposed to meet Nipsey there because he just got out of jail. Well, he was already out of jail 20 days already. Okay, so that's not matching up. That's where I'm going to on this situation,
Right.
where the people who giving out the story, who was with Nipsey, their story's not matching up. The police story's not matching up. Okay, and the biggest question is who hired Chris Darden? Okay, why was he sitting at the jailhouse waiting for Shitty Cuz to come there? I don't even get a lawyer that quick. Okay. And the question is what Eric Holder's actions was. Everybody got to ask this, okay? Here go Eric Holder just killed a rolling 60 Crip. That means he's the most wanted man in California right now. He wasn't supposed to go to jail. He got the brothers rolling down on him, okay? Now, the question is this that has to be asked. Did the rolling 60 okay? Nobody knows. The question is did somebody in Nipsey Hussle's thing? Black Sam, everybody know who Black Sam is, right? Okay, well, Black Sam is Nipsey Hussle's
That's his brother.
His brother, okay? He says he don't know who to trust. But what I like is, and this is where I'm going to tie it all into, 25-mile funeral procession. 25 miles. Close to 200,000 people came out and lined the street. When they took him to Slauson and Crenshaw, where Nipsey's store was at, there were so many people there, LAPD couldn't handle it. They would stand on top of police cars, and we got pictures up of where they tag police cars, and they standing on the police cars. And when you look at that, this is what I'm talking about, the community getting involved and come out in numbers. Guess what happened? Now, they naming the street off after him, so it might not be Crenshaw and Slauson no more. It may be Nipsey Hussle's Avenue or whatever, okay? Then everybody comes down to the police are actually coming in there because gang members now are joining together to stop the violence, okay? Now, when they coming together to stop the violence and making a pledge to rid the city of drugs, and you got all the people coming in talking about standing together, maybe South Central LA may take a change now. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm talking about right here. In Cleveland, when 62 women, we're talking about one man. This is what makes a shame of it. One man got killed by a brother. Okay? Not only a brother, but a brother because he was members of the same gang. And over 200,000 people took to the streets. Okay?
Talking about one brother with a lot of influence.
Whether it's one brother with a lot of influence or not, everybody cared enough. A lot of people probably didn't like him. A lot
of people didn't care. They was just there because they knew it was going to be a show.
There you go.
That was a happening spot.
Wait a minute. There you go. Now y'all look at what I'm talking about. They knew it was going to be a happening. They knew the news was going to be there. They knew it was going to jump, and they knew it was going to pop. They knew that. 62 women killed in an all-black city, and 6 people stand on the corner. There's a problem here. That's what I'm talking about.
There's more than 6 people.
No. 6 people? Well, I'm just not talking about the speakers and all that. I'm talking about period. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
46,000 people drove past and walked past.
There you go.
Ain't said nothing.
Nothing. And this is the neighborhood, okay? Because guess what? A little girl got killed there, okay? A lady just got found dumped, okay? That's what I'm talking about, community involvement. That's what I'm talking about, the community taking their dollars, okay? Okay, the police may not, we have to pay for police protection. So, okay, say the police can't protect us. In the 1960s, Mr. Black, and I want you to jump in right here, in the 1960s, the Black Panthers went out there. And the Black Panthers didn't just come out for police brutality. They came out for Tony running around snatching those old ladies' pocketbooks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
They fed the poor people, the people that didn't have money, okay, to eat. They fed them. They patrolled the streets. Okay, maybe we need to go back to that. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
If you go into Mr. Black, and I know you old enough to remember this, you couldn't go into Little Italy.
Right.
And you know why you couldn't go to Little Italy? Because the community didn't want you up there. And if they caught you up there, the phone, they didn't say nothing. The phone calls went out. Okay, next thing you know, you got 20, 30 people that with baseball bats. Okay? And Mr. Black, no, that's when they called it felony flyers. You probably know about that too, Jay. I mean, you better be able to run, okay? You better be able to put some wings on your feet. Okay?
Yeah, we definitely need that sort of involvement, you know, here and everywhere. But you know, since we're here and we're talking about Cleveland in this particular, you know, situation, we definitely need that sort of involvement. You know, just like I said before, for the people, they need to show up and let the mayor, let the leaders, the administration, whoever know that, you know, the least they could do is take these buildings down. You know, clean up the neighborhood. You know, like, you know, even if the people do it, you know, the city should be paying for it, and let the people do the work. You know.
Well, we had a meeting on that, Jay.
That sounds real good,
right.
Tom.
And we had a meeting on that. Remember,
really
we said there those people were supposed to call us, okay? But see, the reason that them calls haven't been went out and everybody has said it because see, everybody want to take the photo out, okay? Because it's costing us, the taxpayer, $10,000 to tear down a house. When we can take that $10,000 and make somebody a responsible homeowner, okay? We can take a family down from 2100 Lakeside and put into these houses. We can get a homeless vet and put into these houses. There's so much we can do. But see, people don't want to do that because you know what? This is prime land we sitting on.
Exactly.
Okay? The land around here, on my land, I'm going to buy another 2 lots that they trying to get there. They running the price down so high. If you remember the thing, Jay, Tone may be a little too young to remember this. I don't know if he was around when Boys in the Hood was you around when the Boys in the Hood came out?
No, I wasn't around.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, you know.
It was Grady. He was talking to Grady.
Right.
When he went to the hood, they went to Compton. He showed them.
There you go.
Lowering the price.
Okay.
And hey, remember Grady told him, it ain't the white man running. Remember the same thing, my thing. It ain't the white man. It's these niggas right here running thing down right here. And remember when the bro sit down and back and told him, no, they're going to run the property down so cheap and force everybody to move out. And then the people who can't move out, they're going to foreclose on them on taxes or eminent domain or whatever and force them out, okay? And there's going to be nobody there to fight. We went through that right here with Fannie Lewis and Cleveland Clinic when they came down and took all of Winston Willis's problem. The Brave New World, I know you don't know about that. Yeah. Brave New World and Playland and all those buildings he had down there. But what Fannie Lewis did, Fannie Lewis made them build up Huff. That's why you got all those $200,000 and $300,000 homes in Huff. They're not worth $200,000-$300,000, but they made them put them there. And then the people who invested in there thought that, hey, Cleveland Clinic was going to do this. So what Cleveland Clinic did is put the plans on everything, okay, and they ran the people with money out of there because they seen it wasn't there. So now they're getting the houses dirt cheap to people, okay. And then Cleveland Clinic come back. Now Cleveland Clinic taking the land in people's houses and everything because the wife, the junior and the niece and the cousin can't keep the house because they're on crack, okay. Taxes not being paid. They're taking houses right now for $5,000 and $10,000 in taxes. That's unheard of. Was unheard. They go into collection agencies on people. So we have to look back on this. But I want to go to what Nipsey Hussle said about the way to change this. And he said the way to change this was, Tone, something that I wanted to hit you with. When your basic services is being denied by your public officials and everything. Classic example, East Cleveland. The people in the community has to come out and start supplying their own basic services. Okay, that means that if Mrs. Williams' house is falling apart and she need help cleaning the, cutting the grass and fixing the gutter and getting food, then you go. Everybody on that street go help get her house together, take her to the food bank, and bring food to her. Okay, you don't wait for somebody else to do something for you. You do it yourself. If that means that somebody's house is being broken into and crime is there, that means all the available young men that is in that section right there come out and stop the breaking in. Okay, I asked the people that at the Violence Summit that sit at the tables, when the last time you walked into a dark alley or you walked in the park and took the park back from the gang members? Whenever you went on a drug corner and took the corner out from the drug dealer, okay? There's power in numbers. You can't do it by yourself. That's why most people don't call the police. They can't do it by themselves. And they don't want the police at their house because then they get singled out. Somebody breaking the windows out. Somebody coming, cutting the car tires. But if all of us walk out there and do it, we can stop the madness. That's what I'm talking about. If the NAACP, Cleveland chapter, Euclid chapter, Black Lives Matter, Black on Black crime, if everybody comes out and all the organizations and their members, and we get the black churches and all their congregation, and we come out, we can take the parks and the streets back block by block. We can do that. And that's something that we have to think about. But Mr. Black, you know, you're here with us. Tell us one thing on the entertainment end that really what you remember about Nipsey Hussle.
What I remember he definitely had some dope lyrics. And the music that I heard from him was real nice and real positive, you know, on a positive end, and definitely influential to the youth. You know, I like how he spoke to the youth, and like I said before, you know, I'm always down with anybody who's gonna speak up and speak out.
And you know, his girl, I didn't know that was Lil Wayne used to be Lil Wayne's. She had a baby with Lil Wayne or something. Somebody they was talking about this. But you know, I'm going to go back to Black Sam because Black Sam caught a case, and I think he did 2 years in California. They call it 80% time. Okay, that's when they tell you how many years they do. They put 80% or 20% or 30% on the back of it. I didn't know what that meant until I really started researching what Nipsey was talking about and looking at some of his interviews and stuff. And we got a lot of stuff. If you was with us earlier, him talking himself. And when we end the show in a couple of minutes, you're going to hear Nipsey Hussle in his own words and what he's talking about. And you're going to hear the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. He really takes it home. He really takes it home. Matter of fact, he takes it home harder than what I did when I was on the panel because I'm tired also. I'm tired of grieving mothers. I'm tired of people coming out and talking about they love this brother, but then they're going to do the same thing again. And that's what we got to stop, you know. And we got to stop tearing down our black people, okay? I know everybody was flashing in the chat room about Saxman calling our sisters black bees and all that other stuff. And we used to get on them about that, okay? And we have to stop tearing down our brothers and sisters, okay? Even our young people that's mayhem, Nipsey got me thinking about when I start talking about problems in the community, I'm going to have to change up instead of calling them predators and murderers. I'm going to have to find another word to describe what they're doing. So, like Tone thinks, everybody thinks all of them like that, okay? There's a lot of good young kids out here that is not doing that, but the perception, okay? We got to change that perception of our kids in the neighborhood. And Tone, you know, that was your line on that, you know. Every day you used to say, you know, before we go off there, you know, when we got Tone fired up, Jay, he'd say, you know, I'm going to say to my brothers and them, you know, everybody keeps saying, you not this or that, but stay positive. And that's what I like about you, Tone.
We are human beings, man. I don't care where you come from, what your race or whatever is. We all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all got a past. You know, any of us are capable of, like, doing some fucked up shit. And sometimes, when we're dealing with pressure and stress and anger, like that, it can become systematic or problematic, and it can become a habit. So, I definitely don't judge anybody. I think everybody, has the capability to be decent or do good or do the right thing. They just got to be motivated, and they just got to be given a chance.
Jay, your brothers have a hard time when they come out lock up and everything. What you think we need to be doing to assist them and get them back in the round?
First, they need a good foundation. They need a good foundation. They need a lot of times they need money. They need a good job. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of that starts. A lot of reasons they're in jail is about making money. So they need a legal way to make money. First of all, they need a good foundation. They need to be somewhere and things to do.
And that's good because we did a show on some problems that hasn't been addressed. The illegal shipping of guns on trains being left unattended in major cities such as Chicago, Cleveland, Atlanta. We did that show. It's called Sleeping Cargo at Risk Cargo. We did that show. We did the show on the untenable of drugs flowing into our communities, okay? Now, one of these young black men have built a gun, made a gun, or is building the drugs or shipping the drugs, okay? They're being used for that, okay? So that's what we have to address right there. The border, nobody's talking about drugs coming across the border. We're talking about the new colored people coming across the border, okay? And we're going to get into that. And I want everybody to know in the chat room, we're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about the new colored people problem, the Mexicans, okay? They're the new black people. That's who everybody want to come out against, okay? Now, what's going to happen, we're going to talk about that on other line. We also going to talk about some other issues that we need to really address in the community. We're going to have some preachers come on the show, Tone. We're going to have, I'm looking for some young gangbangers that's going to come on and really speak because I want to make a difference between them. And, there's some young people that want to be part of the show that we're going to have to think about bringing on the air or at least getting them to call in and talk about it, So we're going to get that with Tone, maybe talking with people and see if we can get that down because we got a lot that we want to do before we go into season 4. But we only got about 2 minutes before because we're going to end the show a little different tonight because we got the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that's going to speak. And we also going to listen to Nipsey because we want him to be the last person to speak on the show. And we want everybody to open their ears and listen to what he's saying. And then ask yourself, what can I do to make a difference in the community to stop all the killing, to stop all the crime, and to get our old people and our kids back into a normal life where murder, robbery, and police chases and rushing up and down the street on motorcycles are not the thing. But Tone, go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
I don't want to make light of everything we be talking about. For some people, that is a normal life, though. We also have to come to that understanding.
I understand that's normal for them, but that should not be normal for us. Yeah. This should not be business as usual. That's what I'm saying. It's okay for them, okay? It's okay for somebody who thinks they have to rob, but it's not okay for the masses. And if you listen to Louis Farrakhan, he's going to talk to his people about normal, but he's talking to everybody, okay? And that's what I'm saying. It's okay that we got Jay that's going to rob somebody. Mr. Black going to break into a car. You may break into a house. I may rob a bank. That's fine. But all 4 of us can't sit here in the room and say, oh, that's okay because it's normal for them to do that. It's not normal for them to do that.
It's not normal. Well, it's normal for them. That's what I'm saying. That's the choice they made.
But it's not normal for society. When a person make that choice, he did something bad. Society must deal with him.
See, that's where, I don't know how much time we got. We can
but
get
philosophical. I agree with you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I agree with you 100%, but they're not saying it's normal that people are just dead to it. They're numb to it.
Well, right.
I mean, it's not this thing's going on in the neighborhood. I mean, you hear about people schools getting shut up. You were hearing about that so much. Well, that's normal to people now. It shouldn't be like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
It shouldn't be like that. But I mean, when you're constantly hearing this, so it's not just about the women in the neighborhood. People should have been there, which is true. But it's a lot of things that people are numb to now because it happens so often, which is not normal. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, right there, you know what? I want everybody listening to us sit back for a minute. Next week, we got a lot coming for you. Tone, we got a lot. Everybody, we're going to discuss, but we want to go right into and listen to this.
You're listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 with your host, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
My brothers, to think about your mothers. Think about what they went through to get you where you are. Come on. And think about your mother and think about the mothers of those whose lives we have taken. And if you went to a funeral of your homies, and you witnessed the mothers crying, how could you leave there not feeling that pain and go and kill another mother's child? There's something wrong with us that we have become so cold, so callous, and so hardened that life has no meaning. Beg you, from my love for you, to stop the killing, because in a few days, most of you will be dead. I'm going to say it again. I'm looking at a funeral parlor. I'm looking at a funeral parlor. I'm going to start with Muslims. Because, see, we have knowledge. Most of us that are in the mosque or in the masjid that were taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know what your brothers and sisters may not know of who you are and who they are. And if they don't know who they are and you know, then what is the duty of the civilized man? And if the civilized man fails to perform his duty, what must be done? Go to a mosque and hear a lecture and then leave your people where they are? Some of you walk right by your brother. Won't say nothing to him. Walk by the prostitute as though she's some dirty thing when you know what you were brought from. You walk by a gangbanger. You don't say nothing to him when you know what you were brought from. That's wrong, brother minister. When the Nation of Islam went down, our light went out, and the darkness covered the people. And out of that darkness came up men and women of hardness
like the creatures of darkness. Come on, right there. And I'm tired of looking like I'm some damn entertainer that you come out to hear, then take your dumb self back and do the same damn thing you've been doing. Yes, sir, right there. Yes, sir. Whether you're in the masjid, come on now, or in the mosque, we have to come back together and lift up a light in the darkness, or we are sentenced to death. I'm turning you over to death because I'm tired of grieving mothers taking their babies to cemeteries. And we can't wait to smoke another one. I'm tired of seeing us bowing down saying prayers in hypocrisy while our people are dying in the streets. I'm tired. But the blood of the people that are dying in the street, they're on the hands of every one of you who fail in your duty as a civilized man and a civilized woman. And I'm willing to die for you. If my death would bring you up from where you are, I would die in the next minute, because I can't bear to live and see you like this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can't bear the pain of these mothers. And if I can't do nothing to change the reality that put these grieving mothers where they are, what the hell is the sense of living?
On the path to my own destruction or success. But what is a mistake without the lesson? See, the best teacher in life is your own experience. None of us know who we are until we fail. They say every man is defined by his reaction to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you?
Yeah, so we right here, Shawn Slauson. Take a walk with me. I'm gonna just walk through the lot with you and talk real quick. Yeah, so you know, originally, we had this location right here. It was called Slauson Tees. We didn't have these two corners of this third space. We was operating out of this space right here. You know, my brother had, caught a case, went down for a few years. So we ended up losing this space. When he came home, he did like 3 years with 80%. And when he came home, he had a little money saved up. I had a couple dollars when he touched down. We put our bread together. And the first thing he said is, I want to get this spot again. I want to get back where we was at. And at first, I'm like, man, we got so much going on with the music. Do you want to be right here? And he like, it's important that we, keep what we had going. And also, execute what we started, finish what we started. How many fights I done had in this parking lot, I can't count, man. How many fights Fats had, my brother had, we can't count.
Fan base is big, I can't lose. Chicken bow down, I'm the next to root, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the ramble down the yellow brick road, but people leave at the end, ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
You ain't never ever seen a gangster quiet like me.
You know I don't give them, and never gave them, I'm just living it up.
No, I hold it down, baby, because I'm certified G.
I'm just living it up, the money can't go with me, so I'm spending it up.
Money ain't a problem, see love and living comfortably.
Never giving it up, I made it all on my own, you ain't getting above.
Shawty got it live with the players from K16.
Yes,
You've been listening